right, folks, it's Tanya Smith here, and I am thrilled as always to be here with you on a Thursday night because this means it's time for Stream Like a Boss TV. Yes, tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about something that I think is really kind of an interesting conundrum. It's something you can grow into. Actually, there's 5 different potential exercises that might fit you if you're looking for your niche. So if you're trying to find a clear roadmap to your perfect niche when it comes to live streaming, that's what we're going to talk about. When you can find that niche, it's going to help you to really better engage and also be found instead of chasing. So, we're talking tonight about steps to help you to find your perfect live streaming niche. And I want to say hello to you. If you are new to the show, I want you to type in hashtag newbie. And if you've been here before, you need to type in hashtag OG because you're family. Yes. And we, by the way, have been on this show now. I don't know if you know this. How long has it been? Since 2021, which is crazy. Maybe even 2020 is when we started this particular show, but we've been going strong and staying consistent. Okay, I want to double check a couple of things because we did have a crash with our very last live stream. So hopefully you're able to see and hear me well. If you can, I want you to pop something in the chat. Definitely let me know again if you're a hashtag newbie or a hashtag OG. We'll pop that up right there to make sure you know what to do. Also, I'm going to check a couple of things where you're watching from. I see Carlos Phoenix in the house. What's up, Phoenix? Good to see you, sir. I will be testing something out because I'm going to do a different way of showcasing, showcasing our comments. I'm going to see if I can pop you up, sir. Let's see if it'll pop up. There you go. Boom. Okay, wonderful. And I see Dan Roth in the house, and he knew what to do. He popped in that OG, the OG style. That's what we do. I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dan, you get claps. Okay, y'all. I do want to make sure we go ahead and dive into the topic, but because we had the little crash, I wanted to make sure everything was up and running again. I've been doing some testing, but there's nothing like doing your testing and then going live and still having a crash. So I think we're okay. We're going to talk about niche, or some people call it niche. It depends on how you choose to say it. It's sort of like GIF and GIF. Which one are you? Are you the GIF person or are you the GIF person? However you choose to pronounce it. But either way, what it is about is the idea that you're finding the topic or set of topics that really work for you when it comes to creating your video content. And specifically, we're going to focus on live streaming because that has been one of those things that's been kind of a point of contention for some. And especially because we have so many people nowadays who are actually what we call multi-talented. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of multi-talents. This is not the YOLO box. I think the YOLO box is your favorite thing, isn't it? This is still Ecamm Live. I'm still Ecamm fam, so I'm doing everything in Ecamm Live right now. Look, let me do this so we can go ahead and get you started with the niche thing. I'm going to share a really quick video. I'm going to give you a few minutes to go grab your favorite cup of hydration. Make sure that you grab your notepad and a pen because I am going to do a couple of exercises with you. So I really this time would love for you to have your notepad and a pen or something that will help you to capture your own personal notes as you're looking to find your perfect live stream niche, okay? We're going to walk through 5 exercises and see if you can figure out or get some ideas to lead you in the right direction so that you can better engage your audience. So here we go, okay? I'll see you on the other side of this quick video. Alrighty, folks. Welcome back. Tanya Smith here with Stream Like a Boss TV. And tonight we're going to talk a little bit about your niche. How do you find your perfect live stream niche? The reason why this is important is because it really helps you to plant a flag where you are, right? Instead of you having to chase people down and to figure out how can I go find more clients? How can I find more viewers? When you stand for something, people will find you. So it's not about squashing your multi-talented purpose and passions. It is about helping the algorithm, specifically in different social platforms, to figure out which bucket or buckets does this person fit into where we can showcase them more. Honestly, I think I have a little bit of a different belief than some. A lot of people believe that the system is working against you. I feel like the system is asking for you to work with it. Come on, let me show you off. Let me get you in front of the right people. But sometimes we're sending mixed signals. So I will give you kind of an example of something that I think was really an interesting little story, because I was working with this client, and it was our very first couple of sessions that we were having. And she was just really fighting me on the whole idea of the niche thing. And I said to her, okay, tell me a little bit about how you're being perceived on your channel, because you're saying your YouTube channel is not getting the views that you want. It's not getting people coming to you, and your Facebook Live, all the things that you're doing right now, they're not capturing the attention of the ideal audience that you really want to work with. Why is that? And she said, well, you know what, Tanya, I don't know, but for some reason they keep sending me to people who want to know more about real estate, but I have a clothing boutique, so I'm not sure what's happening. So we went and we took a look at her various platforms and realized something pretty quickly. On her platforms, and particularly her YouTube and some of the other channels as well, there were videos that she had created that were about real estate, because she has a passion for that too. And apparently the bucket that she was put into had to do with real estate. So her clothing boutique videos were getting pushed out of the way in exchange for more focus and emphasis on the real estate. Now, I'm going to also be real transparent with you and very honest, because I don't know how to be anything different. But the same thing has happened to me with my own channel. And I personally, this year, actually within the last few months, have had to work with my own video coach. And there were some revelations. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing this video right now, as the beginning of a series that we're going to call the Livestream Chronicles. One of the things that she discovered quickly in looking at my content, because sometimes we have to get out of our own way, get out of our own head. I couldn't see this, but she saw it right away. When she was going to my video channel, she asked me, okay, so what is your profession? What is it that you do? How do you serve? And I talked to her about the fact that I love to serve coaches. I serve coaches and I help them to leverage a formula we call the Boss Blueprint that will help them to get seen, and that will help them to be able to leverage live streaming so that they can sell more of their services. But that wasn't what was popping up for me. Instead, what has been popping up for me more frequently, more often, are two things that I hadn't anticipated. One is I was showing up more for digital apps. And these are some of these digital apps and tools that I review because I just like to review them. Some of these are really old. Like I had one video in particular where you don't even see my face, because back in the day, I was doing faceless videos before that became a thing. I would actually just showcase the display. I just demonstrate the screen and not have anything with my face on it. I just be talking over the screen and sharing and showcasing an app. So one of the tools, one of my highest viewed videos is actually on SOPs, on standard operating procedures and systems. And the second highest one has to do with an app, a particular platform, which I won't name because I don't want you to keep going to it. But none of the videos where I really wanted to talk about coaching strategies and really helping you to grow your business, those were not showing up. And so what I now find myself doing is swimming upstream, because that's one category. The second category that was popping up for me were my guest interviews. Now, this may be good for you if this is something that you choose to do, if you choose to do guest interviews a lot, and that's a part of your channel and your brand and what you do. It's not knocking that, but I recognized that I needed to build my thought leadership branding. I needed to build up my credibility again as the person who is the expert, instead of giving that away. And what I've done over the past probably year or more is give a lot of that attention away and pull away from what I really truly want to focus on, what my passion is. So I'm sharing that with you to say it's not too late if you found yourself in this whole area where this is not where I want to be. Like, I'm trying to sell this. I have programs and services related to this, but over here, this is how socials are showing me. This is how YouTube is showing me. This is how LinkedIn, et cetera, are showing me to be. And it's a total disconnect. If that's happening to you, one of the things that you first want to do is get really clear on what is your niche and what is your focus. Now, I happen to be pretty clear about that because I've been coaching for almost 20 years now. But at the same time, I wasn't creating an ecosystem of content that was supporting the goal of leading people to where I needed to be. So even as much as I've been doing video and been here talking with you and enjoying you in the comments and, having our banter back and forth with guests on the show, it's still, there is an opportunity to learn. You can always learn from your mistakes. And so it took a coach for me to get out of my own head and out of my own way to make some changes. And so we'll be doing some dramatic changes over the coming months. I have some really cool and exciting stuff that is coming up, and I can't reveal it all yet, but it's coming. It's on the way. Meanwhile, let's talk about you. So if you are really clear on what your niche is right now, if there were a bucket you wanted to tell YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram to put you into right now, if there were a bucket and you could only put one label on it for now, what would the label say? I want you to pop that in the chat. I'm curious. What is the niche that you really want to promote and you really want to have other people see you as the expert for? Now, again, let me give you the caveat. The caveat is that I get it, the multi-passion and all of that. I know, and I'm not telling you to hide it all. What I am asking and suggesting is, if you're trying to lead people to you, if you're trying to plant a flag, what is your flag telling people? Where do you want them to come and find you so you're not chasing them? So go ahead and pop that into the chat and let me see what your answers and responses are. Now, additionally, what I will say is that the 5 specific things that I'm going to share with you that you can do, this is where your notepad and your pen come in, because I want you to really think about and embrace these ideas. Now, I'm going to pop up a slide that's going to talk you through the 5 ideas that we're going to cover. First of all, we're going to call it the 5 things, because I like to do 3s and 5s. That's what I do on the show. The first one is the mirror test. So we're going to run through that. The passion project is number 2. The Sherlock Holmes is number 3. The covert competitor, and then the mad scientist. So these are going to be the 5 steps or 5 processes that we work through right now. All right. The Art of Going Live said virtual branding. I got you. Okay. Yeah, and that makes total sense if that's the label. So then the question's going to be, as you think about the label that you want to put onto your bucket so that people know where to find you, or we're not even going to say bucket, let's say flag. If you were standing at the top of a hill and you had a flag right now and the flag had words on it to tell people how to come and find you, what does the flag say? Now, there's a danger in the whole idea of putting too many words on that flag. And here's what I mean. I remember going to this networking event a while ago. This was sometime like pre-2020-ish. And I just finished speaking. I was talking about social media at the time. I think I was promoting my brand, Snack Size Marketing. I had a podcast back then. And a gentleman came up to me after the event and he was like, yeah, I'm thinking that I can do some things with your community. And I was just listening and just taking it all in. And he said, yeah, because I'm a spiritual guide. So he gave me a business card for that. Then he said, and you know what? We also do catering. Me and my wife, we do catering. So he gave me a business card for that. Then he said, oh, yeah, and I also do real estate investments. So let me give you that card. By the time we got done talking, I probably had like 6 or 7 cards from this guy. Now, Maybe that sounds exciting to you. For me, as the consumer on the other end receiving all these business cards, by the time I left, I couldn't remember what it was that I wanted to pursue him for, because it wasn't going to be for all those 6 or 7 things. So how do you want people to remember you as the go-to for their pain point? What would have been a better solution would have been if he asked me, hey, what are some of the things that you're looking for? If you're looking for partners, if you're looking for resources, what are you looking for right now? And then hand me that card. Because then I would have been more likely to remember, he's the go-to. I'm going to pull him in for this party that we're going to do because we need some catering. That's my go-to now. Because he asked me and I said what I needed and he gave me the right card. If you're giving people 500 cards, they're just not going to remember who you are. And the same thing applies when it comes to these video and other social platforms, right? They want to know where to help you get seen. So let's walk through some of these exercises. Are you ready? Okay. There are 5 that we're going to go through. And the first one is about understanding your unique strengths. Okay. So the first one, what did we say it was called? The mirror test. Okay. So I want you to take a good, hard look at yourself. And remember, you have your notepad and your pen with you right now. And I want you to think about, as you look at yourself, and just imagine that you're looking in the mirror right now. What is it that people are always saying to you? As you're looking in the mirror, you're thinking about this. What are people always telling me I'm great at? That I'm naturally great at this thing. And they say nobody else does it better than you. What is it? Maybe you're the Excel wizard. Maybe you are a systems wizard. Maybe you're a whiz when it comes to creating certain types of dessert recipes. I wish I were that person. But what is it that people say you're naturally good at without even trying? When you look in the mirror, I want you to be thinking about, and we're just doing a pretend mirror because you're watching the video, right? But as you're doing this exercise, and maybe you're doing it after this video, what is it that you are recalling about the stories that other people are telling about you? Because somewhere in there, there's possibly some golden nuggets that you can take away and say, you know what? I forgot about that. I didn't even realize. Now, here's a tip for you, for those of you who are multi-passionates. You might absolutely love gardening, and you also love training dogs, and you also love to talk about financial, wealth building. You can create. Nobody told you couldn't create multiple channels, because you can do that. So you can create one channel for each of those topics. If they're going to bless and help a particular audience, figure out that audience and create a channel for them. Hold on one second. Now, if you have a crossover audience and a crossover topic, it makes it difficult because you kind of muddy the waters. And you're no longer telling YouTube where you need to be put. You're no longer planting your flag. I may have to take a sip of water in a second. But I want you to think about that. And pop in the chat if there's one thing that people have always told you you're great at. What's that one thing? Now, maybe there's 5 things. You can put 5 if you choose to do that. Hold on one second. While you're doing that, I'm taking a sip. All right, I'm back. So, one thing. That's the mirror test. And I want you to do it like this. When you figure out just one thing, find a friend, phone a friend, find somebody that you trust who's going to give you solid and clear, I won't say advice, but feedback. Offer to them, hey, I feel like this is something that has been an expert thing. You've always told me I'm great at this. What is it? Oh, it's this. And ask for their feedback. Do you see me as an expert in that space? Do you think this is something that I could actually do? Have you heard me talk about this in a way that is really intriguing and powerful? And get some feedback. What's up, Equip Institute? Good to see you there. Let me start popping up some things here. Equip Institute in the house, also known as Florence, the Florence Donald. Love it. Thank you for visiting, for watching. Okay. Second thing. So we talked about the first one, and the first one was the mirror test. Second exercise we're going to do is the passion project. Okay. And this is similar, but not exactly the same. The passion project is where we're going to make a list of topics that you just get fired up about. So I want you to write down on this same notepad and pen three things that you get really fired up about. It doesn't have to have anything to do with what you're doing right now. I'm going to tell you what I get fired up about right now. I get fired up about reading. I want kids of the next generation to read more books. And I'm not just talking about Kindle and Audible books. I'm talking about like paperback books. Would love to do something with that. I don't know what. I don't know. I may never do a channel on it, but that would be one thing I'd write down. Let me see what you're writing down. Love it. Radiance by Raytalia. She's putting in the comments our test, right? The things that we're putting together. Okay, so the mirror test was number one. Now we're doing the passion project. I know, man. Look, books are what will help people to be better leaders. I truly believe that. I always say that to them, like, hey, leaders are readers, and then they look at me and roll their eyes. Right. Yes, what do you get fired up about? So just 1 to 3 things. Pop it in the chat, just one of those things, but write them down on your sheet of paper. What do you get fired up about? I also get fired up about, okay, I'm going to say this. Don't y'all laugh. I get fired up about Mediterranean food. Like I love, and I've started doing more with this lately, but I love like putting kale together with chickpeas and quinoa, and like I love to eat Mediterranean style foods. So I love to go to certain restaurants, and I would, if I could absolutely do whatever I wanted to, I would even maybe do a channel about cooking Mediterranean recipes. I don't know, create an ebook about it. Have a channel where I'm learning and other people are learning as I'm learning how to make different types of foods and dishes. That would be cool. It has nothing to do, it doesn't have to do anything with what you are doing right now in this moment as a business. I'm just getting you to think out of your shell about your passions. Okay? So the passion project is that exercise. So write down 1 to 3 things. All right. That get you fired up. And I mean, when I say fired up, I mean like hair on fire, right? Like, yes, I could talk about this all day with no pay. Let me see. Radiance by Ratilia. I get fired up about people being their authentic self. So do I. I do too. That is a thing that I happen to be living in my passion about with my videos. I love to help people to show up for themselves. Because when you show up for yourself, you show up for other people too. You never know who's watching. So I love for us to find our voices with video. That's a big thing for me. So what is it that you get fired up about? All right. Are we ready for test number 3? You might have some overlap, or there may be a totally different list of things. So number 1 was about what are people saying to you that you do really well. Number 2 is about what do you really love to talk about and get enthusiastic about. Okay, here's number 3. The Sherlock Holmes. Okay, with the Sherlock Holmes, I know, right? Ratilia, I hear you. The Sherlock Holmes is this. You're going to do some audience sleuthing. So this is where you get to, we used to call it when I used to be in learning and development in my HR days. And I used to facilitate something called the 360 reach. It still exists today, but it is a wonderful tool, an assessment that allows you the ability to be able to fill in your answers about who you think you are and how your perception or the type of perception that you feel that others have of you. But then you're also gathering information from other people around you, whether they work with you, they've been your customer or your client, their family member or a dear friend. There's somebody that you barely know, but you get to send out this 360 reach assessment to different people, and you just provide their email address and it goes to them, and then they write back anonymously and you don't know who wrote back, but you get this really, I'm going to say accurate with air quotes, but this accurate picture based on the honesty of the people who you sent this to about how they perceive you. So with the Sherlock Holmes, what you're going to do is you're going to send out, you can do it one of two ways. Remember, you're writing this down, okay? One way is you're going to simply ask if you have a Facebook group or a community on Heartbeat, or you're somewhere else, wherever your community might be, Mighty Networks, and it should be your community. But if it's not, remember, you need to have permission from the person whose community it is, if you're in someone else's. But I want you to ask people, ask your followers, what is it they really want and need from you? It's a simple question. What do you need from me? How can I support you best? Now, the other way you can do this, if you don't want to just throw it out there and ask and wait for responses, is you can actually create an anonymous poll. Now, a couple of places you can do this. You can do this on YouTube if you have the community tab popping up. You can do that. Have a poll there where people can go and respond. You can use apps like Question Scout. People are still using SurveyMonkey, I believe. There's a ton of different poll apps out there, but you could literally create a poll and have people respond there. The goal is that you don't want to pick apart the responses too much. This is the reason why sometimes it's good not to know who said it, so that you don't start critiquing it and going, yeah, well, I didn't like her anyway. Like, we want this to be open. We want you to be open to the feedback so that you know what people are saying they should and want to have from you. So ask them, how can I best support you? How can I help you? What do you want to learn from me? Now, when you do these polls and these surveys, let me just be real. You do not want to send a survey in this moment in time with 10 questions, because most people without some incentive are not going to take the time to do that. So you want to just have one, maybe 2 questions at the most, and just get those responses, collect them. Okay. Are y'all with me right now? Are we together on this? Yes. Okay. All right. You know, that's what we say. You know, we do it. That's why I think it's better to just, if you can, find a way to anonymously collect that information so that you can take it more objectively and not be upset or not just kind of push it away like, that's not real. Because what we're looking for is a total picture. That's why I'm giving you all of these different exercises, because then you can pull this information together and analyze it and come up with answers for yourself about, okay, these are things I'm passionate about. These are the way that people see me. Here's some ideas that I've had in my head for a long time. They have nothing to do with my business now, but maybe, just maybe, I can create a channel about that. Okay, so we've done, which ones have we done? Let me see. I know Ratelia was helping me stay up to date. I have it here too. So the mirror test, the passion project, Sherlock Holmes. Now we're going to do the covert competitor. Woo. Okay. Are we ready? So let me give you this exercise. So the covert competitor is not shady. This is where you're taking a look at what other creators in your field are doing. What are other people sharing? What niches are they focused on? And where are the gaps? Where do you see that maybe they're saying something that you are shining a spotlight on? Like there's a missing item there, and I could be the filler for that. So the way that you can do this, there's several different tools out there, and I'm trying to think. Spark Toro is one. Let me pull that up. I might have to do a screen share with you. Now, the only reason why I'm not going to suggest outright that Spark Turo could be the one for you is because it can get pretty pricey, if I remember correctly. But I'm going to pull it up. Let's see if we can find it. Spark Turo. And I'm saying Toro. So let me pull it up. I'm going to do a screen share and we can see it together, okay? I think that this is a really good way to do a little research about audiences as well as your competition. And I hate even using the word competition. What I'm going to say are people who are in the same club. How about that? So people who do similar things, who talk about similar topics as you. Yes. Dr. Dwayne Wood in the house recently had an anniversary. So congrats again, sir. Yes. So take a look at what other people in the field are doing. How do you get better ROI from content, etc.? Audience research. So you can search for a keyword. You can look for the website. There's a bunch of different ways you can go about doing these searches. Let me see if I can actually. Yeah. I'm not going to pull mine up right now because it really doesn't have a lot in it because I did not upgrade. Okay. However, let's look at the plans in a second. But what this does do is it gives you information about folks who are doing similar content, and you can get some ideas on, okay, well, if they're doing this here, let's just do this. I'm going to go in, but let me pop it off of here first so I can make sure I don't have any private information. Because, you know, these days the trolls be out trying to find info. I'm going to see if I can actually pop this up and see what I have in there. It's been a while since I've been in here, but as I was mentioning this whole competition thing or research of other people who are in the same club as you, I was recalling that this is something that I used at one point. Okay. So if you do the free version, I believe you have access to one list. Okay. And yeah, mine doesn't have much in it. Maybe we can play with one. Maybe I need to do that. Let's see, 41 different sources. I don't even know where this came from. I'm going to just say this. Try it out, play around with it. I'll have to come on and do another show where maybe we'll walk through it together and play with it. But I do recall this being a good one. There's another one called Topic Mojo. But there's been some bad press about them lately. However, I in the past have had good luck with them. So I'm going to pop them up to show who they are and what they do. Let me do this right now. So we're talking about the covert competitor, and we're taking a look at researching other people's content. Now, if you go on vidIQ, if you have TubeBuddy, those are excellent for doing a lot of different little things like finding common keywords, other videos that are similar to the ones that you're trying to create. So they are decent for that. But we're digging a little bit deeper because we're talking more about your live stream niche or niche. What is it that you want to focus on so that you can build out a channel? And then if you wanted to, you can go and build out 2 or 3 more. But you're planting flags with your niche, right? Because all of those things convoluted will confuse people, including the algorithm, and it just won't show you anywhere. I know this because it's really broken some things for me over the past year. I said that earlier. Okay, so this is called Topic Mojo, and apparently they have another lifetime deal, or it says limited. I'm not going to encourage you to do this deal yet. What I am going to say is if you want to do the deal, reach out to me and I will take a look at it again with you because I do have a version of this, but I've been reading some things, so I just want to make sure it's a good purchase for you. Let me just say that. Okay. Here's the dashboard, and this is the reason why I bought into it initially. It's got a couple of different things. Now, if you are someone who has used Answer the Public before, or you've used Uber Suggest, that also gives you some similar data and information. But I just thought this would visually be a good one to show you, simply because of some of the things that it can do. Okay. If I were to put in a topic, I don't know, give me a topic. Actually, what I'll do, I'll type this in: Mediterranean food, Mediterranean recipes. Let's just do that. I'm going to pop that in since I brought it up earlier, right? So what if I were someone who wanted to create a channel or to start talking about Mediterranean recipes? What can I build off of this? So this says find the best topics for your next content. And there's going to be a report that will pull up, but it's going to take a little bit of time. I know this. The other thing it's going to share with you is they have something called a listener tool. So it can find other people's content that's similar, that falls within some of the categories that we're talking about, right? Okay, look at this one. It has 646 finds. So let's see what the results are. We're eating up some time here because I want to get you to the last little test. Okay, there we go. So this is telling me, it's giving me ideas about the search volume. It looks like it was more popular somewhere between, what was that? January 2024, it was the most popular thing that people were looking for. I wonder why. Because January is when everybody's doing their goals, right? And they're like, oh, I'm going to eat better. It died off a little bit, died off a lot in the month of May, and then popped back up a little bit. Okay, so we know that there's some research there. We also know Mediterranean recipes for weight loss, the sentiment is negative, maybe because people are trying to lose weight instead of to gain something. They're trying to push away a negative thought. So that's what the positive and negative sentiment stuff is all about. But here's the gold: questions. What questions are people asking? And then there should be a space in here for competition, but I won't spend too much more time on this. I'm sharing this to say there are lots of tools that can help you to figure out who are other people that are talking about what I'm talking about. Let me give y'all a really simple way to do this. If you go into YouTube and you do search, that's an even easier way. So you can go into YouTube and you can be like, hey, let me type in Mediterranean recipes here. Right here, you're going to see the top searched phrases. So you can start typing in those top searched phrases and get ideas for what are people actually making content about around that topic. Oh, well, look at this. Hungry Root is an ad, I'm pretty sure. Yep, sponsored. But this guy right here, 10 Easy Mediterranean Recipes. Okay, so he's doing a Mediterranean diet for beginners. If these are for beginners, what is missing? I can look through here and say, okay, so all of these people are making, let's see, a 15-minute plan, 5 healthy and quick tips. Looks like ease and speed are issues that tend to resonate with people, because that's what I'm seeing throughout this whole page is ease and speed. So how can I fit in there? What if I said, hey, I'm going to do some videos where I can show you in 10 seconds the top 5 ingredients that you need for every Mediterranean recipe you ever will create. Then I'm giving people ease and speed because they only need those 5 ingredients and we can do it in 10 seconds. Now I'm making that up, but you get what I'm saying. So now I'm looking at the common themes that are going through here and I'm borrowing that to figure out what I want to talk about. So that's a way that you can do some research and be the super sleuth or the Sherlock Holmes. That can help you with your niche finding. If you start to find a lot more content in the thing that you want to talk about, it's likely that there's a market for that, and that could be a sustainable topic that you talk about for a length of time. Maybe not forever, but for a length of time that will help you to build and grow your channel around those topics. Okay. Does anybody have a particular thing that you really, really love to talk about? Dwayne, I know you talk about helping people to prevent diabetes. That's a big topic, and there's a huge need for that. And you love, from what I can tell with your videos, you love talking about that. So when you're planting your flag and saying, this is who I am, this is where you can find me. If you have these pain points, here's how you find me. That's going to be much simpler than you constantly trying to chase people to talk to them about diabetes. Okay, wait, over here, I'm going to talk to you about real estate investment. Okay, over here, I'm going to chase some other people who want to know about how to make the best pizza. Instead, you've planted a flag so that people know I need to find that flag because I'm suffering with this issue. Yeah, I like that topic. Okay. And let me pop this in here because I think this is a really good comment. Finding the gaps in your niche field is what we did when pursuing my doctorate. Yep. If you can find a place that you can fill a gap, that's a really powerful place to be. But it may not be the exact formula for you to find your gifts. That's why I'm giving you several options and ways that you can go about doing this. Okay, here's the final one. We'll do this one. This one is called The Mad Scientist. The next one is The Mad Scientist. And the reason why it's The Mad Scientist is because in this one, what I'm going to say is this probably has been my method for years. Can I just be honest? I'm just going to be really real with y'all. Video marketing was not my first love. Many of you know this because I've said it before. But years and years ago, and one of my girlfriends, if she's watching, she will tell you that I'm telling the truth. She has probably every single business card from any business I've ever owned or run in the last 25 years. Every single card. And I had a lot. Now I don't even carry business cards. I do carry digital cards, but I don't carry hard paper cards because people don't keep them. They lose them. But the mad scientist is the person that doesn't have fear of experimenting. They experiment. They have fun with it. They're not going to invest so much money to where they're going to lose a ton of stuff. You don't want to lose your shirt on the experimentation, but you do want to get out there and have fun and just try things and see what's really resonating for you and what's resonating for the people that you most want to work with. And you might even find out who you want to work with by nature of the interactions that you're having as you're experimenting. So what was happening for me when I first came out of my my pink bubble, because I was doing direct sales. I live in Dallas. Pink cars. Think about that. Okay. I found out that I had a real knack for coaching and for mentoring. I found out that people would come to me to ask for advice, and they would say to me, "You're so soothing. You help me feel encouraged," which I know I have a spiritual gift of exhortation. I know this. I know this now. I didn't know it back then. But I knew there were certain little things that were like breadcrumbs that were telling me, move in this direction, move in this direction. Okay, now scoot back over a little bit over here. Now, that particular business, that was not my happy place. It's not where I thrived. It's not where I really wanted to stay. But then I decided, okay, well, I've been in HR for a long time and I've been doing career stuff. Why don't I become a career coach? I even co-authored a book. I did all kinds of stuff as a career in the career field. And I was working with employees who wanted to be promoted. And the name of my business was Be Promotable. Some of you, if you've been with me for a very long time, you will know this. Through Be Promotable is how I actually started to do more audio media, because I wasn't doing video, but I was doing telesummits. So I was tweeting a lot, and I built up a pretty good following on Twitter back then. And I had created a brand around career coaching and Be Promotable. And we sponsored a summit called the Women of Color Career Summit. And I was in this summit gathering speakers from all over the world who were sharing advice, sharing little nuggets to help women of color to be promoted in their spaces, in their workspaces, because I knew that that was a struggle. Again, having some of that experience and background knowledge myself. But it still wasn't my happy place. However, what I learned is I learned about branding. I learned about creating websites. I learned about creating graphics. I learned how to speak into a microphone and to create a show. So I had a blog talk radio show. There were all these things, right? But it was the right thing in that moment. It wasn't the right thing after a while. And so I shifted again. And there were several little things in between, but I ended up going into social media marketing. And I was in a space called snack size marketing. Snack size marketing before short form content ever became popular. I was talking about it on a podcast and I was getting noticed. And I even got so noticed that I was on EO on Fire. So I was on that podcast talking about snack size marketing. I was invited to go do these guest speaking gigs in different cities. And I went to Florida, and here's where I spotted another sign that it was time for me to shift. I got there and I was talking about social media and I was sharing, my little spiel, and I had done this presentation. And by the end of the engagement, when it was time for me to go home, I just felt so drained and I felt like this just doesn't feel right. I don't feel aligned. And I started to notice that in my spirit, I just did not feel like I was in the place I was supposed to be. But here's my thought for you. If that's how you're feeling right now, you may be telling yourself you're not where you're supposed to be, but you're right where you're meant to be, and you're meant to learn something in that moment. So don't miss the message, whatever that is for you, because with every shift I made, I kept growing. I couldn't see it at the time. I didn't understand it at the time. I didn't know that it would lead me to where I am now. But you just keep experimenting. You just keep going with it. Well, let me play with this right here and see, is this where I'm needed? Because at every single point that I made that shift, I still was serving people in that moment. And I still was learning and growing. But listening internally to what I was being told and how I was feeling was helping me to make those shifts. When I made the shift to video, I fought. I was like, no, I can't do this. This is not me. I don't want to be on camera. What? I'm an introvert. I don't even like to go put makeup on and dress up and do all those things. I have to do all of that. I don't want to do that. Put my toe in the water. I said, okay, I'm going to try this. The more I tried it, the more I said, okay, I see something feels right, something feels connected. But look, it took years to get to that point. It took years. It doesn't have to take you years, so that's not the point of my story. The point is if you're doing the mad scientist thing, and that's really where I probably adopted the most learnings, that just simply means you're giving yourself permission to try things. Try something on, and if it doesn't fit, move on. The good thing about many of us and the folks that I see here in the chat, the good thing about a lot of us is that we are solopreneurs, so we can make a shift pretty quickly. We can be more agile. But once you start to build a huge organization or team, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So if you're in that space and you're hearing what I'm saying right now, it doesn't mean it doesn't apply. It just means it may take you a little bit more time and possibly money too. But you need to give yourself permission to make those shifts when you're feeling in your spirit, I'm not aligned anymore. Something needs to move. Because when I left the last speaking engagement that I did around snack size marketing, it was like throwing a robe off. Like, whoo. It was like have y'all ever experienced one of those, what do they call them? The blankets that are weighted, the weighted blankets. We're going to pull those out again soon because winter is coming, y'all. But it's like taking a weighted blanket off when you know that it's your time to move. When you take that thing off and you are ready, you're going to feel as light as air. And you move into the next direction and you embrace that next thing. You get in there, see how it fits. And it could be that blessing for you that you didn't know you needed. That's what video has been for me. That's what you have been for me showing up here in these lives. So, what is the blessing that you're blocking? What's the message that you're missing in this moment because you're too busy thinking something just doesn't feel right, but I'm going to keep on trying to pursue this. I'm going to just keep on banging my head against the wall because I'm going to make it work because somebody told me it should work, but it's not. What is that thing? What's the weighted blanket you need to take off? And what is the the flag that you need to plant in the ground? And what's the label that you're going to put on the flag so people know that's you? Hey, that person is me, David Hunt. I need to find him because I need whatever it is that they need from you, David, right? Okay, well, I didn't plan to be on here super long tonight because I'm actually celebrating my birthday tomorrow. And hubby's coming home tonight, y'all. For those of you who know me and know my family situation, he's coming from Asia tonight. So he'll be here in time for the birthday, for mine, and then for my other daughters. We all celebrate in the month of September, so it's fun. Yes, it does take courage to shift. Let me put this in here because that's the truth. It does take courage. But guess what? If you're allowing fear to hold you back from making the shift, you're missing the message. And because you're missing your message and you're blocking your blessing, somebody else is suffering too because they could have taken advantage of what you had to offer and share in that next moment. So I never feel like you're in the wrong place. I always feel like we're in the place we're supposed to be at this moment. I finally learned that. Wherever you are in this moment, even if it feels wrong, what is the lesson that you're taking with you into the next level? Because there's probably going to be more shifts. And it's okay. Now I've learned to embrace the shifts. Now I've learned that I get happy and excited, like, ooh, that seems like there's a new shift coming. Still a little anxious, but at the same time, realizing that we have this one life that we can enjoy and appreciate. Who is anyone to hold us back from making another move and from doing what we're truly meant to do and finding our perfect niche? And your perfect niche is not a forever niche. Your perfect niche could be the one that you're in right now. When I was doing branding work and when I was doing career coaching and when I was doing those summits, that was the perfect niche for that moment and for me at that time. Get what I'm saying? You're not in the wrong place. You're where you're supposed to be. Okay. Oh, thank you, Danielle. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. And Ratilia and thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, yes, yes. Get excited because whatever this moment is for you right now that you're in, it's meant for you. And there's something powerful about that. When you know that, when you understand where I am right now, I'm meant to take something away from this and to carry it with me. Every single shift I made, and I didn't even go through all of them, y'all, but every move that I made from business to business idea, I built on what I learned from the last business. The colors that I use right now, I'm going to say this to you. I started out with a really dark burgundy. So when I was doing Be Promotable, if you ever find that website, which I think it's down now, I still have some images somewhere. But if you ever find my colors, you'll notice over the years, if you followed me for any length of time, that my colors began to get brighter and bolder over time. And now here we got this beautiful fuchsia / magenta / raspberry pink or whatever you want to call it. But I didn't start with that. I had a really dark tone color that just kept getting brighter and brighter and brighter. When you start looking back at your path, you'll notice things. You'll notice the breadcrumbs that lead you to where you are right now. So think about 5 years ago, 10 years ago. What was it that you learned that you've carried with you into this moment? And what are you learning right now about yourself, about your niche? And if you've applied any of the 5 tests that we just talked about, as you apply those, because you wrote them down with your notepad and your pen, you're going to start spotting some different themes. You're going to spot themes. If you've been doing due diligence and collecting testimonials, it would be really interesting. Let me give you this, because I actually wrote a prompt for this and shared this out probably 3 months ago on my Facebook profile. The prompt had to do with testimonials. And what I did is I went back in my Rolodex. I went back in my Excel spreadsheets. I found all the testimonials that have ever been said about me, and I found they had dates and all of that. And I ran them through ChatGPT and told it to analyze this sheet, analyze this, and give me a clear picture of how people perceive me right now. So that's another way, by the way, that you can get that feedback. Is if you've been collecting testimonials, get that analyzed using your AI platform. You need a good sized group of them in order to really kind of get some nuggets that you can pull away. But that's an excellent exercise in figuring out, how do people perceive me? What am I great at? What do they see as a pain point that I can solve? And also look at not just specific niches, but what are the competencies? What are the soft skills that people see that you're gifted at doing and using? I know, for instance, I used to think I wasn't a community builder. I learned over time, specifically when I shifted into the video phase, that I am gifted at building community. It's just I build them differently. I love intimacy. I love being able to still be in it. I don't want to assign to someone else that job. Like, that's my thing. The interaction. That's why we don't really do on-demand courses much anymore. And instead, we have hybrid or experiential learnings with our group, with our communities. So I shifted and I learned that over time, the things that I didn't like to do and the things that I love to do. And I've been able to bring those into my business. And if you're a business owner, you get to do this for your business. What do you love that you can carry with you into the next phase? What is it? If there's just one thing, I want you to pop that in the chat. One thing, one lesson learned, one nugget you now know about yourself that maybe you didn't know 2 years ago, that you're going to carry with you into the next shift. What is that one thing? Danielle, I'm going to try. Girl, actually, I'm trying to be careful. I'm not going to say I'm going to try. I actually have been trying to eat better. I am working on eating better, because I used to be able to eat all that ice cream and cake and get away with it. And now the metabolism, once you hit over 50, it's like, phew. You work way harder to keep that stuff off. Love the backdrop. Look, wherever you are right now is where you are, but yes, you have an opportunity to elevate. And that's what we're doing with these shifts. That's what we're doing with these shifts. Junaid Ahmed was on my show probably about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. So definitely go take a look at his studio and his book. If you look on my playlist for guest interviews, you'll see him. He and I were talking about studios and building out things. Now, he's real advanced, so let me give you a heads up. He's probably going to be using some terminologies and some words that you're going to be like, okay, eyes glazing over. But he creates beautiful sets, and there will definitely be some good nuggets in there. I know, right? You burn it off. Actually, my daughter did buy me she bought me, we call them knock knocks. Do y'all know what a knock knock is? Okay, so it's like a doughy little ball. I usually like the ones that are vanilla. It's almost like cake batter or cookie batter, but not quite. And it has a lot of sugary powder over it. So they told us today when we went to go look and see if they had any, They didn't have the regular vanilla knock knocks that I love, but they had a snickerdoodle one. So I bought a snickerdoodle one and it's in the fridge waiting for me. So I may reward myself with a little bit after we're done. Okay, y'all, now I'm just talking. I've learned that it's okay to give yourself some grace. David, yes. That's a good lesson. Because don't we beat ourselves up? We just get so into the weeds with ourselves and we're just like tearing ourselves apart when something goes wrong or we're starting to feel that misalignment. And we're like, yeah, I probably was never good at this anyway. Man, I wish I had made that shift earlier. Man, we start questioning and then we start second guessing. And then we're like, yeah, I never should have been. But you were supposed to be there. You just telling yourself that to make yourself feel, I don't know, better or to justify the fact that you have the misalignment. But just work through the misalignment. You can have that feeling of being misaligned and at the same time still be winning because you're still taking away the lessons from those times. One of the lessons I took away from one of those shifts that I made was I don't appreciate, let me switch it. I love working with people who are open to learning technology. I can quickly spot when there are certain clients or people who would like to become a client that are not going to be a best fit. I can tell because they try to circumvent my systems. And if they're trying to circumvent my systems before we even work together, then I know what it's going to be when we start working together. They're going to try to work around things, work around my schedule, work around my boundaries, which will get under my skin, and then I'll resent it, and then we won't have the best experience together. So things like that. It's going to be things about who you enjoy working with. It's going to be about how do you like your desk space? How do you like to organize your content? Who are the people that you really, really feel joyful around when it comes to your community? The other night, somebody asked me, do you vet your community members? And the rest of my members were like, yeah. My stream bosses, they were like, yes, she does. And they're right, because I learned I don't have to let everybody in. It's important to me to create the space, a safe space, in the manner in which I envision it. Previously, before I made certain shifts, I was like, oh, I got to take everybody's money because money is green and money is money. And what I learned over time is that all money is not good money. All money doesn't make you joyful. So I learned to be more discerning and to set healthy boundaries and to create a system that allows me to work truly with the people that I love working with the most. You'll learn those things if you're open to the learnings and to the lessons that you're experiencing while you're in the shift. But you have to pay attention. And I know I'm going in a different place than just your video or live stream niche, but all of these things are connected because the more joyful you are about what you get on camera to talk about, the more that's going to show up. The less you love it, the more that's going to show up. Everything gets magnified on your video. Everything. So give yourself a chance to really enjoy what you're doing and give yourself a chance to live through and move through those shifts. Dr. Dwayne Wood, thank you, sir. Thank you. David Hunt, let me go to Taja. I didn't know you had a Taja comment, so let me go back and let me see. I see hello. And then I don't see, you may need to pop it back up there for me. Pop it back up so that I can, or tell me again what you had as a question so I can answer that for you. Yes, Art of Going Live. What? 5 non-negotiables, sir. I know you do. I know you're good with the boundary setting. I know it. I just recognize that in you. Yeah. So that's good stuff. Carlos Tacos, what's up? You know I got to give you a shout out when you come on. Always a shout out for you, sir. I appreciate you. Look. Thank you for coming by. Yes, grace, grace, grace. Give yourself grace. Yeah, we beat ourselves up, but it's so important for us to. And I'm going to tell you this because, again, I'm heading into my mid 50s now. What I have learned is that ain't nothing, if it's not going to kill you, if it's not going to hurt you, nothing is that important to where you can't stop, slow down, and take a break. It just, I mean, it is what it is. I know in your 20s and in your 30s, maybe you're feeling like, hey, I got to run. If I don't run, everything's going to fall apart. But I'm at the stage now, if I need to take a wellness break, I'm going to take that break. If I need to make a shift because I'm feeling misaligned, I'm going to make that shift. I don't want to hurt anybody, and I will do my best not to hurt anyone, not to lose money, right? Not to break something. But you get a chance to design your business the way you choose to. You get a chance to design your video content and the way that you're setting up your systems to show up on camera. You get to choose. So choose. And then if it's not working, use some of those methods we talked about, get some more ideas, and change the channel. Switch it up. Okay, Taja is on AppSumo. I do have Taja. I sure do. As a matter of fact, I did a video interview with the Taja founder probably about 2-3 months ago, David. So that is on my channel. If you go to YouTube, youtube.com @Tanya Smith, or just type in Stream Like a Boss, right? If you type that in, go to the guest interviews playlist and you'll find Taja is there. TAJA is what David's popping in. It is back on AppSumo. Initially, when I bought it, it was there. It's back. Yeah, and I don't want you to miss your blessing either. But you know what? You're not going to miss it because you're where you're supposed to be in this moment. You're doing what you're supposed to do in this moment. The only thing that I think is required of us is that we just pause sometimes and try to pick up on what the lesson is. What am I learning in this moment right now? What is this thing that I'm feeling? What is it telling me? I ask myself that all the time. And it helps me to slow down and to really consider my surroundings and consider the activities that I'm engaging in and the people I'm hanging around so I can make different choices if I choose to do that. But I don't believe you'll miss it. It just may be delayed, and you just may have to come back to it. You're not going to miss it. You just won't. I know you won't. Carlos, thank you. All right, y'all. Yep, David, if you need help finding that Taja video, shoot me a note, and then I can send you the direct link. Okay. All righty. Y'all have a wonderful rest of the week. I will see you on next week, the next episode in my series. And by the way, this what we did tonight, I'm going to do a recap video that will be 10 minutes or less. So for those of you who are not getting a chance to hang out and have fun and we just talk like we do on these Thursdays, it's cool. If you're like, get to the point, give me the lessons and then let's go. I'm going to start doing a little recap version that will be 10 minutes or less, and that will be on the channel as well. And so part of this Chronicles series that I've started tonight, next week, we're going to be focusing on creating a realistic schedule for live streaming. So you figured out your niche, you know what you're going to talk about, what your topic is, what your expertise is, how you want to brand yourself and be perceived. But now you're ready to create a schedule so that you can stay consistent. Well, how do you go about doing that? That's what we're going to talk about next time. Thank you. Y'all have a blessed day too. And thank you for the happy birthday wishes. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the evening. I hope you've learned a little bit about niche finding, that you will leverage one or all of the 5 things that we talked about tonight: the mirror test, the passion project, the Sherlock Holmes, the covert competitor, and the mad scientist. And if you need that recap video, remember to watch out for that on my channel. So make sure that you have liked, followed, and subscribed. because I want to know if this is helpful to you. It helps me to know if it's helpful to you. Okay, that's all I got. Have a good one. Tomorrow I am staying my behind offline. I will not be participating. I'm going to try not to. I'm just going to enjoy the day. Because sometimes we can do that. But I will see you next week in the stream.